Biology My Passion. I am Soumya Harikrishna. We are learning the chapter Ecosystem. We discussed different features of ecosystem, biotic as well as abiotic, and also we started with the functions of ecosystem. We are all familiar with the shape of a pyramid. Base is broad and narrow at the tip. The same shape we can get if you plot the relationship of organisms based on different parameters. So they are called the ecological pyramids. So we have three types of ecological pyramids: pyramid of number, pyramid of energy, pyramid of biomass. What we discussed in a food chain just now, the same can be depicted here in the form of a pyramid. So we know that every food chain is starting with the plants and they form the base tier of the ecological pyramid. They are the producers. So if you look at the number, we learned already that the number of producers will be higher than that of the consumers, right? So plants or primary producers are coming at the base tier with the maximum number. For example, here it is an example of a grassland. Almost 6 million plants are there. Then primary consumers, which is actually number is very less, only 7,08,000. From there, the number of secondary consumers is becoming only 3,54,000, even almost half of this. From 3 lakhs, the tertiary consumer is coming to 3. A sharp decline is happening here. That is only 6 million plants, even though they are in that ecosystem, it can support only 3 top level carnivores here because of the loss of energy in different stages. So we are getting a pyramid shape here. Second is energy. Pyramid of energy is also showing the same shape with the producers having maximum amount of energy. Here you can see 10 lakh energy or 1 million joule of energy is coming from the sun. But plants are getting only 10,000 joule because we are using here 1% calculation. 1% of this is 10,000. Then from here again 10% law is applicable. The 10,000 to secondary consumer, 1,000 to tertiary consumer, and the top carnivore is getting only 10 joule. There is a sharp decline from the energy coming from the sun. Or if you look at the biomass, last class we learned how to determine biomass. We can either look at the dry weight or the fresh weight, but here we are taking dry weight per kilogram per meter square. Plants or primary producers have 809, whereas primary consumer has only 37, secondary consumer has 11, whereas the top carnivores or the quaternary consumer has only 1.5. So this is very again a sharp decline. Now we are going to see whether any exceptions can be there for this generalization. Suppose if you look at the number here in a grassland, of course the grasses are more in number than any of the consumers or the other heterotrophs. Whereas this condition can be inverted in very typical situations. If you look at a tree where suppose you take one banyan tree, the number will become only 1. Suppose number of pyramid in a tree, if I am looking, this is a grassland, but one tree if I am considering, so this is the primary producer. But if feeding on this, what is there? Insects are there. So insects are the primary consumers. Okay. So in this case, it is becoming an inverted pyramid. Imagine directly, or if there are birds eating these insects, then it becomes a spindle shape. Or another possibility is, suppose this secondary consumer is a bird, there are the parasites living on the bird's body will be more than that. So in this case, it is an inverted pyramid that we are getting. So there is an exception that pyramid of number can be inverted also, especially when we take the case of a tree. Then coming to pyramid of energy. Pyramid of energy can never be inverted. Very important, pyramid of energy can never be inverted because there is unidirectional flow from plants to animals. It's never coming back, right? So always plants will have more. By eating plants, the primary consumer will have less than that, secondary consumer will have lesser than that, like that it goes on. So never it is the other way. So only this has no exception. But biomass also there can be exceptions. If you look at the biomass of in a sea, so the producers are phytoplanktons. See, these phytoplanktons have biomass, but the zooplanktons will have more biomass than the phytoplanktons. Or if phytoplanktons are also eaten by fishes, so if even in that case the phytoplanktons biomass and fish, if you see, the biomass of fish far exceeds that of phytoplankton. So in a sea or an aquatic ecosystem, the pyramid of biomass can be inverted. On a tree, pyramid of number can also be inverted. You have to remember these specific examples, but pyramid of energy can never be inverted. When we are taking care of this ecological pyramids, we have to discuss certain limitations of ecological pyramids. The first limitation is ecological pyramids are taking into consideration only food chain. I told you there is no food chain actually existing in nature. What exists is a food web. So the second point is it cannot accommodate food web. Third point, if an organism is occupying two different levels, like I said the case of birds initially, bird can eat plant directly and become a primary carnivore or primary consumer, that is herbivore, or it can eat a worm and become a primary carnivore, that is a secondary consumer. Or human beings, when I am eating rice I am becoming a herbivore, but if I am eating chicken I am becoming a primary consumer. Secondary consumer, that is a primary carnivore. So I can occupy different positions that cannot be depicted in an ecological pyramid. Then the fourth point is saprophytes or decomposers are not given any space in this ecological pyramid. So these are the four limitations of ecological pyramids. These are the main points that we have to discuss in this chapter. Hope you understood all the concepts well. If so, like, share and subscribe to my channel Biology My Passion. Thank you for watching.